All right, now we are working another problem trying to determine what the required return is on a particular stock. The one we're looking at now is we're looking at this company, DeHan Enterprises. We're estimating a beta 0.05, a risk-free rate of 4.7, and an equity risk premium at 13.2. Okay, so we have a beta of 0.05. So is this going to be exhibiting a lot of what we call market risk? No, it's very close to zero, so it's not going to. It's showing very, very little tracking with the overall market. So we're actually going to have, before we even do this, we're going to have a pretty low required return on this company. Okay. The next thing we're looking at is a risk-free rate of 4.7%, and we're going to show an equity risk premium, okay, of 13.2%. Okay. So what we can do is we can just drop this in our model. So RI is equal to the risk-free rate plus beta multiplied by the risk premium, which we call risk premium is equal to the return on the market minus the risk-free rate. Okay, so we do have our risk-free rate at 4.7%. We have beta at 0.05. We have a risk premium of 13.2. So if you were going to just make a quick statement about where you think this rate is, you should see this rate as being pretty close to the risk-free rate at 4.7%, right? Because this factor right here, that 0.05, that's pretty close to zero. When we have a zero correlation, that means that this whole right-hand side of that part of the equation, that's going to turn to zero, and it's just going to equal that risk-free rate. So we're going to end up with a required return on this stock at being 5.36%. Okay, so that's going to tell us exactly what the required return is. Okay, in order for me to invest in the stock, I have to get at least 5.36% on my money. Okay, now one just side note about having a beta, having a low beta. Okay, when you have a low beta, that means we're closer to zero. Right, some things that might have a low beta, right? Something such as fine art, wine, etc. Some of those things aren't going to be very well correlated with the overall market. However, just because we have a very low beta does not mean that it's low risk. Doesn't necessarily mean that it is a low risk. It just might not be very well correlated with the market. It might not be very volatile. Okay, so that's just one thing to keep in mind. Even though we might see things as fine wine, fine art, those kinds of things that aren't correlated with the market, is there risk involved with that? Absolutely. Your wine could spoil, turn bad. You could have a fire in your house. The price of those things fluctuate wildly. So that's just one thing to keep in mind.